What's up, everyone? I am Jamie with Three Little Goats Homestead. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you've been around for a while, welcome back as always. So if you are new here, we are in my soaping studio, which means we are going to be making something today. And today we're going to actually be making some soaked salt bars. I only make these in the wintertime because the humidity here is very high, which means salt bars tend to sweat a lot. So once the humidity starts to drop, that's when I start making them again. And they're one of my favorite soaps to make. So without further ado, let's actually get started with soaping. I don't know if you guys know or not, but I wrote a book. So we're going to go over some of the stuff we're doing today that is also in the book. So if you're new to soap making or if you've been doing it for a while, I made a book that goes over things like the different oils in your soaps and how it affects your bar of soap and how it affects your skin as well. So like you've got neem oil, moomaroo, meadow foam oil, mango butter, just all kinds of different types of fats and butters. I've got tallow and I've got lard. I've just got everything in here that of the most common and some uncommon ones as well. So like olive oil, it'll tell you how it affects your soap, the skin benefits, things to take into consideration when using it, tips on how to use it, and then it actually will have how it calculates in your recipe as far as giving you a lather, cleansing, conditioning, things like that. And we also included a section, if I can get it, on additives. So these are things you can add to your soaps like almond milk, activated charcoal, calamine clay, bentonite clay, eggs, cow milk, goat milk, henna, green tea, madder root, kelp. It goes over a ton of different things. So it'll tell you like how it affects your skin and things to consider when you are using it in your soap. And then I also have a section on exfoliants, and that's the section we are going to go over here in a second. And then I even have a few basic starter recipes in here as well. So I worked really hard on this and I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. But we are going to go into the exfoliants because I have two different salts in here. I have Himalayan pink salt and I also have just sea salt. So I am using dead sea salt. So the great thing about these is the minerals. It helps soothe the skin. It can improve the skin's texture. It can be a great exfoliant, but again, it'll have the considerations. You don't want to use too much. It can affect your batter. It can reduce your storage time. I know here in the South when I make salt bars, if I make them in the summer, they tend to sweat a lot because that salt is pulling in that moisture out of the air. So it's really hard to keep those bars dry. So I'm always keeping them in the dehumidifier box, and when I go to markets they still sweat. So I tend to only make these bars in the wintertime when it's not quite as humid. So that is what we are going to do today, is make some salt bars. I already have my oils melted down. I've already incorporated my beer powder, my goat milk, and my kaolin clay into this as well. That's why it looks a little bit cloudy. I forgot to grab a paper towel, so hold these. So all of that is already mixed. I also have my lye water solution ready to go. And in here I have my salt weighed out. The salt that I use is really coarse, so I actually take it and put it in a spice grinder to grind it down a little bit. And it's still pretty coarse. It will melt down a little bit because I'm soaping a little bit hot today. But if you're going to use something, just take into consideration what the texture is, because sometimes it can be a little too rough for the skin. So I'm going to get my batter started here. And I'm also not using a loaf mold today. I'm using individual molds because salt bars can get hard fast. And I have ADHD, so if I was to do it in a loaf, I know I would walk away from it, forget it, and then I would never be able to cut it, and I would just have a big giant loaf of salt soap. So I do them in the molds. It just makes it a little bit easier, and that way I don't risk actually breaking any of the wires on my soap loaf cutter. So without further ado, let's get into this. And I'm going to just bring this to a very light trace, because once I add the salt in, I'm on a time crunch to get these into the mold, and I'm going to separate this into 2 separate batters. So get this separated. And the only reason why I'm separating it is because I want to do 2 different scents, which I've already measured out the scents. I'm doing a hot buttered rum for one, and then I'm doing my leather and tobacco for the other one, because those tend to be my 2 more popular soaps in the wintertime. And I'm not going to add any type of colorant because the leather has vanilla in it, so it's going to discolor it on its own. So I realized I had miscalculated my salt, which is fine. I just did that off camera real quick, and I wanted to wait for my batter to thicken up just a little bit, because I don't want my salt to all settle to the bottom of the bar. So we're going to pour in our salt, and we're going to get that mixed in. So that guy's done. Trying to stay in frame, but work quick. So, other. Alright, hopefully, okay. So, I don't have soap on a stick yet, so these mixed in. Get these poured off. Oop, too much, too much, too much, too much. It never fails whenever I mix my batter, and like you have so few minutes, like very little time to actually like work with it. Someone shows up for milk. Thankfully Jesse's home, so I hope he's getting that, because I can't right now. Alright, that one's a little messy, but it's okay. And I'm just going to pour one more over here. Alright, so these guys are done. I'm just going to clean up my bowls and get as much out. Just make a scrap one right here in the middle. It's a great thing about filming everything you do. You can tell where you put everything later, because inevitably I would forget what I poured into what mold, but thankfully I have it on film. So we're going to let these guys sit and harden. Normal soap, I would say 24 hours, but these will probably be ready to pull out of the mold in a couple hours. So I'll bring you guys back when they're ready. Alright, y'all, so my ADHD kind of kicked in and I got distracted with a bunch of things yesterday, and by the time I remembered I needed to demold these, it was too late and I was tired. So we are now demolding them the next day. The only thing I need to really be careful about is salt bars can become brittle, so I just want to make sure I don't manhandle them too much and break any of them. So we're going to just pop these out. I do have a little bit of loss on the corner, but that's fine. But this is what they look like out of the mold. And just like any of my other soaps, I am going to let these guys cure, just hang out for a few weeks before they are ready to go. Then there's another piece of the corner. So I'm going to get all of these demolded and try not to destroy them. And I'll see you guys in the outro. Alright, y'all, so that is what I have got for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. It really does help our channel. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We put out new videos every single week. And if you have any questions about this soap, or if you're looking for a specific type of soap, let me know down in the comments and I will see what I can do. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.